Hello, my name is Nick and I work at Valuehost, and today we're going to have another video for you. We're going to explain some of the different levels of hosting. So I'm going to come on over to my whiteboard here. So generally there's 4 levels of hosting out there right now. We've got number 1, shared. Number 2 is VPS. Number 3 is dedicated. And number 4 is cloud. So, we're going to explain all 4 of these. We're just going to go right through them, 1 through 4. If we start off at shared hosting, what you have is that your hosting provider, whether it be Valuehost or anyone else, they set up a machine with some hardware, just a standard computer hardware, and what they're going to do is they're going to install all the software that you normally need to host some websites. So you're going to have a web server like Apache, a database like MySQL, and some kind of programming language like PHP. That's just your standard, totally run-of-the-mill website. You can make a lot of very excellent websites with that stuff. And then, as the web hosting provider, we're going to get some clients to come in. So maybe I sign up for some shared hosting. So Nick will have an account. My friend Mark will have an account. His friend Bill. And maybe Jessica. Alright, so we have accounts on the machine, and the machine has the software to make the website work. And that's shared hosting. For the hosting provider, it's very efficient because for each, we have the software we need, we have the users, and they have access, and it's very, very efficient to set this up, and it'll just run, and things are great. There are some downsides, though, such as the separation between Nick and Mark and Bill has to be managed by the operating system and the applications here. So to make sure that Mark doesn't mess with any files that belong to Jessica, Mark and Jessica have to make sure that they always have their file permissions set if this is on Unix, and their servers will be separated through Apache with a vhost system, and they'll have different usernames and passwords for MySQL and things like that. So it's very easy to set up and efficient to use, but you do have to worry about security sometimes. Now if we move on over to the VPS system, we have the same, we start off with a similar idea. The web hosting provider sets up a machine to use, but then they do something different. They partition it into virtual servers. So now the clients that you have, before we had Nick and Mark and Bill and Jessica, each have their own little slice of the machine. This is a bit less efficient this way because now they each also have to have their own software to make the website work. So I'll have Apache and MySQL and PHP, because that's the stuff that I like. But the advantage here is that now you have more flexibility per client. So Jessica might want something a little different. She's going to use Nginx instead of Apache, and Postgre, and some Ruby. So she's going to use different software, and it won't conflict with mine because we're all completely partitioned. But like I said, it might be a little inefficient this way because I'm using the very standard common stuff. Maybe Mark and Bill are also using that. Apache, MySQL, and PHP. Same thing over here, just ditto. So from the provider's perspective, we got some redundant stuff going on. But the advantage is that it's more secure this way. You know, if we accidentally make a mistake with the vhost configuration Apache, that doesn't open up a problem where Mark could get in access or things like that. So there are some advantages and disadvantages, so always consider that when you're trying to decide which one you want to go with. So that's VPS there. Let's move on to number 3, which is dedicated hosting, which is the simplest of it all. The hosting provider sets up a machine, and they give it to one client, and that client can do whatever they want with it. They set up their software, it's all for them, and they get all the power of it. So that's the simplest one, but it's also the most expensive because normally what would have been used for many, many clients is now just for one. So that's the dedicated hosting solution there. And now if we come to the cloud, everyone's favorite buzzword, cloud is actually extremely similar to VPS. It's just like before. You have a server partitioned with virtual units, some virtual machines, and the difference between a VPS and a cloud is that it's a lot more flexible. So normally not only do you have the flexibility of choosing which software you had, like before one person might have Apache, another one might have Nginx, you also get to choose when or how you want to swap out the whole virtual machine. So if you were running Ubuntu before, it's extremely easy to go through and change it to CentOS or some other system, or FreeBSD. You can go crazy. You have a much higher level of control, you get a wider view of the whole system, and they're usually also bundled with more options for things like storage or networking between the virtual machines, so you have more than one. Okay, so that about wraps it up. So I've gone over the 4 options there. Hopefully that gives you all a better understanding of the hosting options available out there. Thank you.